special presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Tonight on HBO's Boxing After Dark, you'll see Gabriel Ruelas against John Brown. Both fighters on the cusp of entering the 135-pound title picture. Then you'll see rising star David Reed, the only American boxer with a gold medal from the 1996 Olympics. In his first scheduled 12-round fight, this his 11th professional fight, the opponent undefeated James Coker. We are back in Atlantic City, where it was a gorgeous Indian summer-style weekend on the boardwalk. Tonight, for boxers Gabe Ruelas and John Brown, it's a winner-take-all for future championship consideration. The loser plummets. And for David Reed, tonight may well be his toughest test yet as a professional. The rest of us have an easier time of it, just trying to be sure that we look good and feel really good about ourselves as we step into the arena, the hot lights, the cameras of HBO's Boxing After Dark. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome back to this unusual edition of HBO's Boxing After Dark. You know the telecast, so you know that Roy Jones and Larry Merchant are close by. You'll be hearing from them as the evening goes along. Later on, we'll be checking in on the career of David Reed, the only gold medalist from the 1996 American Olympic boxing team, as he may be just one fight away from his first title shot if he can get past James Coker, a 19-0 unbeaten southpaw tonight at 154 pounds. Before that, we pick up the up-and-down career of Gabriel Ruelas, who, along with his brother Rafael, has been a fixture in the sport for the past 10 years. Ruelas, who once held a world title at 130 pounds, is now trying to get in position to go for one at 135 pounds. He was originally scheduled to fight Jesse James Leija tonight, a man he once decisioned for a 130-pound title. Leija came up with bruised ribs a couple of weeks ago, and instead we get John Brown as the opponent, a tough, pile-driving, straightforward fighter who's expected to give Ruelas a stiff test. Tale of the tape for Gabe Ruelas and John Brown, fighting at the limit of 135 pounds, and you can see that both weighed in a little bit under the limit. Tonight, Ruelas all the way up to 149 pounds after having gained 16 pounds since the weigh-in. You see that Gabe is 2 years younger, 2.5 inches taller, and has a 3-inch reach advantage. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Gabriel Ruelas-John Brown fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, non-title, using the rules of the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. There is no standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
All right, Harold, and with that, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Donald J. Trump's Taj Mahal Casino Resort here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where tonight America presents, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Bring you world-class professional boxing. This first bout is presented in association with Cedric Kushner Promotions and is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr. This bout is also sanctioned by, this bout is sanctioned by the New Jersey Board, and the officials at ringside are timekeeper Arthur Spell, and your 3 judges scoring on a 10-point must system are Al DeVito, Shafiq Rashid, and Luis Rivera. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Tony Orlando. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with white trim, weighing 132 1/4 pounds. His professional record, 18 victories, with 9 knockouts to his credit and 5 losses. He comes to us from right here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, the former USBA lightweight champion, John the Eastern Beast Brown. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red, trimmed with white letters, and weighing 133 pounds. His professional record, 48 bouts, 45 victories with 24 knockouts and only 4 losses. He comes to us from Sylmar, California, presenting the former WBC super featherweight champion of the world, Gabriel Ruelas.
Okay, gentlemen, you received my instructions. Let's have a good, clean bout. Listen to my commands. Touch gloves.
John Brown, Jim, spent most of his youth in a series of foster homes. Gabe Ruelas, when he came north from Mexico at the age of 11, had never worn a pair of shoes. That's what fighters are made of. That's what this fight is made of, and it will be a fight.
Two very tough fighters who are expected to engage each other at close quarters for much of the bout. That, of course, was the voice of HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. We're joined at ringside by 2-time world champion Roy Jones Jr.
Walk their head. Come on, let them go. Come on, let's get out. Come on, punch out. Punch out.
John Brown lost a decision to Angel Manfredi in Madison Square Garden just a month and 2 days ago. He stepped in to take this spot vacated by Leja. Says that he had remained in training following the Manfredi fight, so this is right in his natural rhythm. How tough to come back 1 month following a fight like the one he had against Angel in Madison Square Garden, Roy?
Well, it's kind of tough sometimes, especially if you get a win. But he had a loss, so he's looking to come back and get revenge for that loss. So he probably went right back to the gym because a loss should have made him upset and made him hungry again. Man, that's a 5-time world champion, Roy Jones.
5-time. Excuse me, Roy. I was thinking of the weight classes, but you know I should have said 3 there because it's 160, 168, 175. Falling well short of giving you sufficient credit, but that's okay. The rest of the world knows. And already we've got the toe-to-toe action with heavy contact on both sides.
Yeah, neither of these guys like to back up. I don't think they have reverse. They're like a 747. The only way they're going to back up is to get something to push them back.
And if you look at Brown's relatively small upper body and wonder how he can take punches so well, just check out the legs. This guy has a strong base.
Watch your head, John.
The way Ruelas is fighting Brown, he obviously believes that he's stronger than him and that he will wear him down and get to him as the fight goes on.
Ruelas' trainer Joe Goosen telling us, hey, I'd love to fantasize that Gabe is going to stick the jab, move, and do all the kinds of things that might give him a big tactical advantage in the fight, but I know the way Gabe likes to fight against somebody who'll come at him. He's going to get shoulder to shoulder with him and give him all the action he can take, and that's what's going to happen here.
And that's just the way Gabe is. Gabe's been that way since the first day, and he'll be that way when he finishes.
Come on, let him go, let him go.
No point in trying to change the personality of the fighter. Ruelas going to the body. Brown has great inside punching technique, loves to pop his opponent with short, straight right and left hands inside at close quarters. Well, we mentioned that this is another visit to the up and down career of Gabriel Ruelas, once regarded as a great prospect. He's held a world title, but Larry Merchant, he's had his bad moments too.
Yeah, he's one of those fighters of whom it can be said that if he didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. 8 years ago, when he was considered a brilliant prospect, this exchange with Lem Franklin resulted in a broken elbow. He has 5 bolts in that elbow right now. And then, of course, after he won the title, this fight against Jimmy Garcia, after which you may remember Jimmy Garcia died And then coming in to finish, Arturo Gatti walks into that left hook. Knocked out.
Yeah, in the preceding round, Gabe had Gatti going, and he hurt Gatti in that round before taking the left hook that settled the fight.
Right now, Ruelas' right arm is 3 inches shorter than his left as a result of that operation on his elbow. He cannot straighten it out.
Took 2 separate surgeries to properly place the screws that stabilize the elbow, and it's changed him somewhat as a fighter, made him even more of an in-fighter because he can't extend the long right-hand punches.
Come on, let him go. Come on. Get out of here.
John Brown has 5 losses in his career, but they are all to tough, big-time fighters.
Frequently in those fighters'
Watch your head,
hometowns.
John. Keep the head out of there.
Kind of guy you hate to see coming.
Yeah, because you know he's more likely going to be there all night, and he's going to fight you with everything he has.
There's the right hand inside, which is Brown's main weapon. It did some damage against Manfredi, and he has landed it several times in the early going here against Ruelas.
I don't know how they can avoid knocking heads and drawing blood before this is over, Roy.
I don't think they care about knocking heads and drawing blood. That's what they like.
Watch out.
John Brown, born right here in Atlantic City,
Watch your head, John. Come on.
became one of those children of the child welfare system in New Jersey, raised in 12 different foster homes. At some times in his adult life, he's lived homeless, and he lands a big right and a left against Gabriel Ruelas and has Ruelas going in the middle of the second.
And Gabe was hurt bad by those punches.
He wobbled.
Come on, punch out. Let's go. Let him go.
This is John Brown's game, and he's doing better at it than Gabe Ruelas is.
Oh, there's a hard left-hand shot. You can see the impact of Brown's punches inside, and as I told you, he's got great technique for throwing those short, damaging blows inside. Straight right hand. You got to stop John Brown from throwing the straight right hand somehow.
Well, first of all, fighting in close, you can't stop him because he's so short, and that's the best place for him to be. He has to be there to land punches. Gabe, on the other hand, could go outside and land punches and get out of his distance, but Gabe doesn't like to fight like that. And that's where that stubbornness comes into play, and it hurts you sometimes to be stubborn.
You see Gabe motioning Brown, come on back in.
Step back.
And it's hard to imagine what Ruelas gains from pinning his back against the ropes and standing inside a phone booth with John Brown.
Well, he's hoping that his experience will take over and that he'll catch John with something big. And because he's been in so many more fights, he's hoping that he can be the better fighter throughout the duration.
Man, you gotta watch that overhand right. You gotta keep your hands up. You gotta try boxing a little bit. Give me that end swell ring right now. Okay, you can't sit on the ropes. You know, you gotta be a little bit smarter than that, Gabe. All right, you gotta keep your punches short and your head down. All right, you gotta box a little bit. You gotta use the middle. Great.
John, I need you to set your shots up, okay? Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient. The shots are there. He's there for the taking. All right, I need to take a half.
Early in the round, Brown shook Ruelas up. A couple of hard punches right there. The right and the left that drove Ruelas back, wobbled him. Sometimes you can be too tough for your own good. Ruelas was too tough for his own good in that round.
And you may have seen the CompuBox numbers showing that Brown has thrown more and landed more at close range in the first 2 rounds. And you heard Joe Goosen stating the obvious to Gabe. You can't fight him like this. And Ruelas comes right back out, engages the man in center ring, gets hurt with a right hand.
That's just how his elbow is broken. His right elbow is broken, just as Brown had him pinned right there.
Brown has to be careful not to punch himself out here because he's got the less experience. And I don't think he's big enough to keep trading punches with Gabe, but he's getting confident.
There were a couple times against Manfredi when Brown would mount long, sustained assaults, and then he needed time to recover afterward.
Watch your head, John. Come on, let's go. Come on, work out there, work out.
Well, that was a good body shot by Gabe. I think that might have hurt John a little bit.
Keep him up, John. Keep them punches up. Come on, punch out, punch out.
Where would you find room to box against this guy, Roy? I mean, yeah, Joe Goosen asked him, maybe you could box a little bit. How do you make room to box?
Well, Gabe could push him off and back and use his feet to box a little bit, but Gabe doesn't want to do that. Right now, that was a jab right there before John got close, and he'd have room, but Gabe doesn't want to do that. Gabe wants to fight.
He wants to do this.
Gabe is game. Gabe loves to fight. That's what cost him the fight in the Gotti fight, because he's so game and he loves to fight.
Yeah, he gave Gotti the opportunity to come back on him.
That's right. He never should have gotten that close to Gotti.
Off the head, off the head. Come on, punch out.
Had the same experience against Azuma Nelson.
Great! Step back from him.
If he moves and boxes more, maybe he has a better chance in that fight.
Well, if he moves and boxes more, he's not Gabe Ruelas. That's not who he is.
John, watch that shoulder, man. Watch that shoulder. Let's go.
Uppercut lands for Ruelas. Brown comes back with a solid right hand.
Come on, walk out. Come on, guys. Let him go.
Manfredi complained that John Brown held his arms all night, and you can see Brown's tendency to reach out and pin the opponent's arms at some times when he's inside.
Well, he's a shorter fighter. He has to do this, Jim. That's where his advantage is.
Closer look at John Brown now.
There you see who he is. 12 foster homes from the age of 11 to 17 or so. Just 5 weeks ago, he lost that very rugged fight with Angel Manfredi.
Keep pressing him, okay? You can control him whatever way you want, but don't jam yourself. So I need you to take a half a step back to throw your shot, okay? All right? You keep moving them backward, but you need to give yourself room.
You got to be a lot busier, man. This is the 4th round, Greg, coming up? Yeah. This is the 4th round. It's only a 10-rounder now. Okay, we got to win some of these rounds. We got to win some of these rounds.
Wait,
I don't know if it's the gloves or what on there.
Okay.
Goosen making the point to Tony Orlando. John Brown comes out firing grenades. Ruelas' corner being categorical with their fighter about the status of the fight. Joe Goosen suggesting to Gabe that he hasn't won any rounds. Harold Letterman agrees.
Come on, let him go. Come on, walk out. Come on. Step back. Come on, punch out.
Gabe is very smart, though, Jim. Anytime John Brown expends a lot of energy, Gabe comes right back and immediately attacks the body. That's where you see that experience come into play.
Watch your head, John.
Well, it's awfully tough when you get yourself into a scorecard hole against a guy who's never been knocked down or out. I mean, unless Ruelas gets a lot busier, Roy, he's banking on a late-round knockout to win this fight. And how are you going to get a late-round knockout against a guy with Brown's past experience?
Come on, keep your hands
I don't know, but I guess Gabe probably believes that there's a first time for everything.
Come on, I'm not going to tell you again. Let's go. Watch your head, John. Watch your head.
Especially against a fighter who is eating
Come on, two hands. Can you use two hands? Come
roaches,
on.
caterpillars, land crabs, to show that he can survive anything.
With a martial arts instructor here in Atlantic City named Mal Perkins, John Brown says that he has frequently gone into the swamplands around here, lived for extended periods of time, and lived only off the food that he could find in those areas to demonstrate to himself that it's possible to do it. Thus, as Larry says, the diet of cockroaches and land crabs, which he claims to have subsisted on for periods of time. Brown's suggestion, hey, if I can live eating cockroaches and land crabs, I'm too tough for these guys.
I don't know about too tough, because he's in with a real tough customer here.
Yep.
Step back.
And as round 4 has progressed, Brown has looked a little arm weary, not able to deliver those sharp snapping punches that we saw earlier in the fight. And Ruelas, as Roy Jones pointed out, continues to focus when he gets his chances on Brown's body. Left uppercut landed for Brown and snapped Ruelas' head back. And just as I said John Brown was punched out, he came back with a furious assault.
You understand? You understand? You understand? Okay, let's go.
So a little horror show at the end of round 4, and we remind you that on Halloween night, we've got Prince Nassim Hamed taking on Wayne McCullough of Ireland. Hamed from England, McCullough from Ireland. Great card, junior featherweight champion Buyani Bungu of South Africa taking on Danny Romero the same night. Romero coming up to 122 pounds.
John, that ball hits.
Come on, but I hit last.
It's okay.
Johnny, look at me. The low blows.
Right.
Hit me in my John.
John Brown finishing the round in style, something to give the officials to remember, perhaps the edge in that round.
Staying below him, man. You got to get below him, Gabe.
In round 4, Ruelas had his best round yet by CompuBox numbers, landing 28 of 65 punches. But Brown was 36 of 73. And now Brown begins round 5 with a vicious assault.
And he landed some thunderous punches on Gabriel Ruelas' head.
Break! No punching. Let him go, let him go.
Ruelas' brother Rafael, who took a fearsome beating about 6 weeks ago from Castazu, seems for the moment to be in retirement. And if Gabe Ruelas were to take a beating from John Brown here tonight, it is difficult to imagine what other opportunities might be so attractive as to keep him in the sport.
Rafael is now taking classes at UCLA, high school graduate.
No punching.
Gabe looking forward to a career not as a trainer in boxing, but as a manager. And if this fight keeps going this way, he'll be managing fighters sooner than he expected.
Yeah, because John Brown's getting confident here, and if Gabe doesn't do something to stop the confidence, he's going to have a long night.
Come on, turn around.
Oh, yeah, he turned around.
Come on, step back, John. Come on, let him go.
Gabe would not have faced this kind of physical warfare against Jesse James Leha. That would have been a different kind of fight.
Yeah, much different fight. I think Jesse James is more of a boxer.
Okay.
Boxer, left hooker.
Come on, 2 punches. Come on, let's go.
Brown is an inside warrior who defends on the straight right hand. Ruelas, you can see, firing to the body to try to take some of the start out of Brown's punches.
Come on, Gabe, keep him up.
I think a lot of people underestimate John Brown.
Well, that's what he thinks. He thinks everybody underestimates him.
I don't think Gabe expected him to be this tough of a competitor, especially inside, because this is Gabe's fight normally.
All right, break. Let him go, let him go, let him go. Step back, step back.
Blood on Brown's shoulder must come from Ruelas' face.
He's cut inside his mouth, Jim.
Is that it? Another brutal right hand.
Step back, step back, step back.
He's just having his way against Gabe. This is very uncharacteristic for Gabriel.
Step back, guys.
Well, he's taking an awful lot of punishment. Ruelas is all the way through the ropes.
Come on, guys. Let's.
And Ruelas is hurt. Ruelas is hurt bad.
Ruelas is trying to demonstrate to Tony Orlando that Brown is tackling him and bullying him through the ropes.
Yeah, Ruelas is kind of not seeming to be as aggressive as he normally is, and I think everything is hurting him now because over the period of time, all these big punches take their toll.
What I tell you? Get back there. Come on, get back there.
And suddenly, Gabriel Ruelas looks like a fighter who has taken too many shots.
He can't get his balance now.
So, let me see that lip. Let me see that lip. Come here. Gabriel, look, you're not even trying to box him at all. At least catch him with a left hook to the head and body coming in. You're dipping to your right. You're not doing anything on your left side. You're playing his game and not winning it. If you're going to win that game that he's playing like this, you got to throw 3 times as many punches, and you're not doing it. All right, guys, you're going to win this fight. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You got 5 rounds, so you got to do it now. This is where you got to take over from this half of the fight.
Here's how John Brown came into the ring tonight, perhaps thinking this was October 31st, not October 24th. But he does call himself the Beast.
Ready to go. Take the stool.
Round 5 by CompuBox numbers, a wipeout. Ruelas 5 of 33, Brown 26 of 43.
Let's keep it clean.
Joe Goosen again giving honest advice to his fighter, and you wonder at what point Goosen might begin to think that the better part of valor is to stop the fight on behalf of his fighter. Harold, how do you have it through 5?
Jim, I've got it 5-0, 50-45, John Brown. I mean, there's no question that the clean shots are being landed by John Brown on his right hands, and I really believe that's what the judges are seeing.
Here's the left hook.
Shot by Ruelas, but John Brown's definitely dominating with those hard right hands. But Jim, watch what Gabriel Ruelas is doing right there. Those are kidney shots. They're behind the back. They really, Tony Orlando's got to put a stop to that because it could be very dangerous. Gabe keeps pounding John Brown in the kidneys. It's totally illegal.
I have it 4 rounds to 1.
Break. Step back, please.
You gave Ruelas the 4th?
I believe I did, yes.
Well, you heard Joe Goosen ask the fighter to give him a left hook when Brown is coming in.
The problem is that John is way ahead of Gabriel. Gabe is reacting off of what John Brown is doing, so he's second in the fight. As long as John Brown stays out in front of him, he's going to beat him because he's quicker than Gabe. See, right there, when Gabe gets on first, he can land punches, but he's usually not getting on first. See there?
Come on, 2 hands, both of you. 2 hands.
Does Gabe look to you to be in slow motion, Roy?
Well, this is Gabe's normal fight. He's always slow like this. He's not a speed type fighter. He's a later fighter. He's one of those guys who's mediocre, but he's mediocre throughout the whole duration of the fight. So he doesn't really look in slow motion to me, but he's very flat tonight. But this could come from underestimation of an opponent.
Well, he added 16 pounds since yesterday's weigh-in, which indicates to me that he had to take a lot of weight off to make weight. 16 pounds in water and food in just 30 hours.
Just keep him up. Johnny, watch your head in there.
And another assault by Brown, and Ruelas almost down, and now he is.
4, 5.
First knockdown of the fight.
7, 8.
Took a lot of accumulated punishment to produce it. And now Ruelas is going to face a finishing attempt by John Brown, and Brown goes to the body to set it up.
And if he doesn't punch back, the fight will be stopped. But he...
Tony Orlando, as you can see, focusing attention on Ruelas, trying to judge his ability to continue in the fight.
Time. Back to the corner. Gabe, over there, over there.
Over there.
Well, Gabe, I'll tell you what, Gabe, you better let it all hang out this round. He's going to come after you hard, man. You didn't box him. You didn't do anything I told you to do, Gabe. But what you got to do now is you got to win the fight. And how are you going to do that? Can you win this fight? Can you? How are you going to do it?
Your fighter's taking a lot of hate shots.
Hey, listen.
All right.
Hey, that's what this game's about. Please, I know if I've stopped fights before when I think he's hurt. If he don't, yeah, that take it, Tony. You know, listen, Tony.
I watch it.
Exactly.
It takes too much.
This knockdown came as an accumulation of punches. No single punch seemed to do it. Ruelas just needed some place to rest. Strong body attack, quicker hands to the head. Brown is dominating a once very good fighter.
Yeah, he's worn Gabe down. Now the accumulation of punches are starting to show an effect on Gabe. The punches that were not hurting Gabe early in the fight are starting to hurt Gabe now.
Painful to watch, guys. There are few people in the sport that you like more or who more deserve your affection than Gabriel Ruelas, who has been a prince of a person ever since we first met him 10 years ago.
Both he and his brother.
Terrific people.
He's still trying to show his toughness, but I don't like to see this type of toughness. He's taking a banging here.
Looks like the referee is very close to stopping this fight. You can see him study Gabrielis' face.
They're going to throw 1 punch to 12.
You don't want to see any fighter take 10 rounds of this.
I hate to use this metaphor, but he looks more like as much like Jimmy Garcia in their fight.
I'm sure we've all been thinking the same thing. It's a chilling and painful thing to say, but yes, the punishment he's taking, not unlike the punishment he dealt out to Jimmy Garcia on May 6, 1995. You couldn't watch this fight without making that connection if you were there at ringside that night, as the three of us were.
The referee's watching very close. He's not getting hit to the head a whole lot, Jeff, but he's not fighting back. That's why I think the fight should be done. He's not fighting back at all. He doesn't show any aggression. He doesn't show nothing to make us think he wants to win this fight, you know? He's not doing anything to show us that he really wants to win this fight.
That's the most aggression he's been able to show in the 7th round.
That's because he's hurting. The accumulation is worn down, and he's just not out to win this fight tonight.
All right, break. Step back.
This is his 50th professional fights.
Well, it's a nice round number.
And he's absorbed some punishment along the way. But your observation earlier, Jim, that he seemed to be in slow motion seems more and more the case as the fight goes on. His hands just don't have that kind of quickness that he once did.
Time.
Round 7 ends on a sharp left hand from Brown. Ruelas bending over as though trying to find some flexibility in his legs.
Sit up. All right, Gabe, that was, you know, you can't sit in the corner. All right, you feel better though now? You got your strength back? Huh? You landed a couple good shots there, but you got to get busy. Tony, you see what he's doing. He's playing possum a little bit. He's trying to catch him with a good one.
Okay,
he's cognizant.
I'm watching you, Gabe, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, he's playing the game right now in the corner. You know, he's trying to let the kid shoot off some steam. All right, Gabe, let me have that water, please.
Right here.
Well, give me a towel, Ilano, right there. All right, Gabe. I know, try to box him a little bit, man. See if you can catch him, man. But, you know, you really have a long way to go.
And one more. All right. Check it out. Come on. Get the bucket away.
You got to knock him out. Pull your face down.
If Ruelas is playing possum, he's a very wounded possum.
Yeah, it's one thing to play possum. It's another thing when the opponent lands 41 out of 66 punches, all power shots. That's what happened in the last round. Oh, there's another brutal uppercut. quickly, Harold, how do you have it through 7?
Jim, I got it 70 to 62, 7-0. John Brown. I mean, I think he's pitching a shutout. Personally, I would stop the fight, no question. I mean, certainly if Orlando's in a tough spot, you call a doctor in, because Gabriel Ruelas is just not punching back, just like Roy Jones said. He's laying on the ropes and taking a terrible beating. Very, very close to a 10-8 round, that 7th round. I called it 10-9, but certainly could have been 10-8.
Step back, step back, step back, step back.
Little pawing left hook by Ruelas, reaching right. You can see that Brown still has leverage on his punches. John Brown just physically dominating the fight from the opening bell.
The good thing is that John Brown is not a bigger puncher as Gabriel was in his day. So
that's enough. That's just enough. Yeah. That is enough. Tony Orlando finally does the obvious, and John Brown has his victory. And for Gabriel Ruelas and the people around him, much to consider from what happened here. So after years of falling just short against big-name fighters, John Brown gets the victory he was looking for over a former champion and one of the better-known fighters in his weight class.
Fought 2 very tough, strong fights against tough, strong opponents in the last 5 weeks. He's earned some shots at making some money.
He thought he'd won the fight against Manfredi. He left no doubt here tonight.
I'll be back for you. Yes, yes.
Gabriel Ruelas, his wife Leslie, his 2 sons Diego and Rodrigo, ages 4 and 1, potentially a comfortable life in Southern California. We'll always remember them with love and affection. This was a wipeout. Round 2. Ruelas first hurt by John Brown, and this was the kind of two-fisted inside assault which Brown was able to mount and sustain throughout the fight. Round 5, Ruelas bulled through the ropes by Brown, shaking his head in bewilderment. Round 6, and I believe this will be the knockdown that came on a series of punches from various angles until Ruelas simply couldn't stand up anymore. And then round 8, the brutal assault that ultimately convinced Tony Orlando that his judgment was better than Joe Goossen's as to what to do with the remainder of the fight.
And as we were showing those highlights, Jim, promoter Dan Goossen came over to us and said about both